construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times the, they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and
of what?
There's never been anything
Trump
like
class.
These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to?
Why aren't we making battleships?
And
true. Yeah, so true.
These are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest.
Wow.
And by far 100 times more powerful.
Than what?
Than any battleship ever built.
Than anything,
so if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others. But if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality. Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America's built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller, and much smaller. And
that's true. Yeah, if we don't have the big ships,
where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength,
just make them even bigger.
But including, we've been building aircraft carriers. We're going to be upping that also. We're going to be going to a superior aircraft. We have the Ford class. We're going to be upping that to a different class of aircraft carrier.
What class is it called?
We haven't built a battleship since 1994.
What class is the new class going to be called?
These cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. They will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction.
Amazing.
Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. And again, it's 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class, it's called. Those are the big ones that you'd see on a show. Victory at Sea. I don't know if anyone's seen Victory at Sea, but it was a classic.
I've never heard that except for my dad telling me about that.
Supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear.
That's crazy.
Enemies all over the world. We want respect. We're going to have it.
Never heard that.
To bring the
More respected now than we ever were.
All.
A year and a half ago, they laughed at us. Now they respect us again at levels that they've never respected us. We envision that these two ships, we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10.
Wow.
And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of these.
Holy shit.
But we're starting with the first 2 immediately, and we're going to then be very quickly
Do we need these?
Involved with, I think, we're going to do another 8, and then we're going to ultimately and pretty quickly have a total of about 20 to 25. We'll make that determination.
All right, good.
We envision that these ships will be the first of a whole new class of battleships to be produced in the years to come. From Theodore Roosevelt, the Great White Fleet, you remember that, the Great White Fleet, to the legendary USS Missouri, whose massive guns helped win World War II. America's battleships have always been unmistakable symbols of national power. We stopped making them for whatever reason, I don't know. And I want to congratulate John Thalen, who is your secretary of the Navy. He came to me the first day we met.
What about the privateering thing?
Battleships, and I said, you're absolutely on the right track. He said, why are we doing other things? We have
sounds tired.
Missiles,
I wonder
which are much
why.
more expensive. By the way, these battleships have tremendous numbers of missiles, but they also have guns. And in many ways, guns can do the trick just as well as missiles at a tiny fraction of the cost. Once completed, these new 30 to 40,000 ton plus vessels will be the flagships of the American naval fleet, and
Production of the
There'll be
item is
never,
complete.
there has never been anything built
Our
like
will
them.
is transcendent.
And I just want
Our
to,
forces have engaged the enemy.
I want to
We
be
are
very clear
entertaining
that
offers.
we're building them here,
Logistics
we're
upgrade
working with
complete.
others, we're
Civilian
building them
structure
here, we have
complete.
great Navy yards.
Our will
We'll be
is
negotiating with some of the
transcendent.
companies that
Harmony
are running those
research
yards,
complete.
taking
Yeah.
over the yards. We used to build a ship a day during World War II. Now we don't do ships very much anymore. We do military ships, we do submarines. By the way, we're 15 to 20 years advanced in our submarines over anybody else. That was one of the things that I did in my first term. We make the best submarines by far in the world. We're at least 15 years advanced ahead of anybody else in submarine development. Most powerful, that's right, the most powerful
The anima are
weapon
restless.
anywhere in the world, undetectable. So
Nice.
the battleships are going to be armed just
Yes.
in terms
All
of
right.
guns and missiles at the highest level.
There you go.
They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic
Yeah.
weapons,
Whatever
state-of-the-art
the unity
electric
wills.
rail guns. And even
Israel knows
high-powered
where those
lasers
submarines are.
that you've been starting to read about.
I'll tell you that.
Lasers where you aim the laser at a target, it just wipes it out. We're going to have, there'll be the most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. They'll also carry the nuclear arms, sea-launched cruise missiles currently under
Fucking
development.
laser submarines. That's right.
Instituted pretty quickly, but they're under development, and they've proven to be
We await your command.
extremely lethal. The
Finally.
U.S. Navy
Our
will lead the
vengeance is
design of these
yours.
ships along with me
Hostility
because I'm a
research
very aesthetic
complete.
person,
We shall do as you
alongside our
command.
partners in American industry. And
Production of the
we're going to have
item is
Pete
complete.
Hegseth and Marco, and a lot of
Phase
very
engines.
talented people involved, but a lot of it's already been done. We've been doing this for months.
Man.
The construction
Merry
will create
Christmas.
thousands of American jobs. We're going to have
Merry Christmas.
the jobs be created. I mean, already we have factories being built unrelated to this, although AI will be a big factor when it comes to these ships. They'll be very
Our
AI
vengeance is
controlled.
yours.
Today's
Okay.
announcement is
Research
yet another
complete.
step in our mission to make the United States Navy stronger than ever before. Again, when you talk
phase
about 100
engines.
times the power of these massive ships that we had
AI,
years
yes,
ago,
exactly.
it's pretty amazing.
Scryers have located
And
a
next week,
divine
I'm going to
artifact.
meet with the defense
Behold its
prime
Everything's computer?
contractors. I'm going to meet
Exotics
with
have
them
been
here,
unveiled by our
Florida.
scryers. Harmony
And we're
research
going to
complete.
be talking about
Civilian structure complete.
production schedules because they're
Hostility
too
research
slow.
complete.
We have many countries, allies, that are wanting to buy. We make the greatest equipment in the world by far. Nobody's even close, but they
How
don't
about
produce it
that?
fast enough.
Great.
So we're going to be meeting with them to
Military
talk about
structure
the
complete.
production schedules. We're
Our
going to have
minds
strong
awaken.
Somebody got their phone
production
on.
schedules. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to build new plants. Even with the F-35, we have many people who want the F-35 fighter jet. And it takes too long to deliver them to allies or to ourselves.
Hostility
It takes
research
too long.
complete.
The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they build new plants. They don't want to build new plants because that's expensive. So we're going to be discussing production schedules. We're going to be
He's on his
discussing
phone, bro. He's on
CapEx
his
spending.
phone.
We'll be discussing the
What are you doing?
the pay to executives where they're making
Hostility
45 and
research
50 million
complete.
dollars a year and not being able to build quickly. They're going to make that kind of money. They have to build quickly. Again, we make the
Yeah.
best equipment in
That's
the
true.
world, but they don't make them fast enough.
Military structure
And
complete.
What's he
we're going to
doing?
be also discussing dividends. We want the dividends
He's
to
doing it
go
again.
into the creation of production facilities. So we'll be talking about all CapEx, dividends, and
Military
the
structure
pay.
complete.
We're also going to be talking about buybacks. They spend so much money on buybacks. They want to buy back their stock. I don't want them to buy
Hostility
back their
research
stock. I want them to put the
complete.
money
Harmony research
in
complete.
plant and equipment so they can build these planes fast,
I
rapidly.
think he's right. He's right about this. It's true.
Immediately.
Military structure
I have sold
complete.
more planes than any
Yeah.
president by far, times probably 20.
Good.
So every time I go someplace, I sell
Harmony
100
research
planes.
complete.
That includes commercial planes, Boeings, etc., but it also includes fighter jets. And
He's
I'm
a
always
plane
having to
president.
say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Helicopters, Apache helicopters, many years. India bought them. They want to get them. They don't want to wait
Desecrators
a long
assault our
time.
world.
So we don't
Whatever
want to
the
have
unity
executives making
wills.
$50 million a year, issuing big dividends to everybody, and also
right.
doing buybacks.
Yeah, true.
And then they say, well, we don't have the money to build the plant. They got to build
Well, fuck
plants.
that.
Plants to make F-35s.
Yeah, fuck that.
Plants to make
Harmony Research
helicopters.
True.
Plants to make the F-47 new jet.
Let the
And
bidding commence.
that's it. And that's what I'm going to be
Hostility
talking to
research
them
complete.
about.
Take 5
We're gonna
fighter
start
jets?
spending money
You
on
want 5 of them?
building airplanes and
Useless
ships
plane salesman.
and the things that we need, not in 10 years and 15 years. We need them now. And we're strong about it. Last week, the Navy announced a brand-new class of frigate, and they're going to be working with the South Korean company.
No.
Hanwha, good company,
bid.
recently agreed to invest
You
$5 billion
missed
in
out.
Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. We're opening up the Philadelphia Shipyard. Once a great yard. Now it was a long time ago decommissioned, but now it's reopening.
Great.
Working with the Navy and working with
Production
Private
of the
companies.
item is complete.
the record-setting defense
The
bill I
animal
signed
are
last
restless.
week
Did you
authorized
say North
$26
Korean?
billion
No, he
to
didn't.
build new ships, including destroyers and various
Destroyers.
others. We already have a lot of submarines, as you know, under construction. We're building a lot of submarines.
I
tell
can't
you,
wait
to
for the
be
draft.
exact, we have right now
Who wants to get drafted?
Logistics
15
upgrade
submarines
complete.
under construction or ready to start. And we have, again, the greatest submarine in the world with
Me?
our technology, like they talk about chips.
Awesome.
Well, I would say submarines are a bigger deal than chips. We're at least 15 years ahead of any other competitor. China,
Civilian
Russia, nobody
structure
can come
complete.
close.
Harmony
We're also
Research
building right
complete.
now 3 large aircraft carriers in addition to the ones we have. And we have, actually, interestingly, we have a lot of submarines. How many submarines do
Our
we have now
minds
altogether?
awaken.
Approximately.
Hostility research complete.
Huh? What? Over 30. We have over 30. But these are the super duper subs, and there's nothing like them. So we're going to be doing from 12 to 15 brand new submarines. We have a couple of other things going
Our
on.
minds awaken.
We'll be building other elements of Navy. We'll be fixing up headquarters. We'll be fixing up places for our great sailors to live. And we're going to be working very hard with
Harmony
companies, but we're
Research
also going to be
complete.
penalizing companies that aren't doing a good job. For instance, when they built the Ford, Gerald Ford, the cost overruns were ridiculous. That was done in Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to be talking about that with that company. The cost overruns were out of control. In World War II, the United States built upwards of 4 ships per day. Can you believe it? 4 ships a day,
4? I thought I said 1.
on average. And it's
I said
now
one.
they weren't all big warships, but they were ships,
It's up to 4 now?
freighters, tankers. And it's a tragedy
The
that we allowed
unity's
this
wrath made
incredible
manifest.
capability
Hostility
just go
research
astray. We
complete.
don't
Time to
do
be
that
place
much
of
anymore.
I.
We do build our warships, but that's about it. But that's a lot. We're going to restore America as a major shipbuilding power. We're going
Harmony
to
Research
ensure the
complete.
USA is the most powerful fleet anywhere
Our
in the world.
minds awaken.
And long into
We
the
have lost
future,
access to the
battleships
middle
helping
market.
lead the way, and the submarines that,
be a
again,
lesson.
nobody
Next time,
competes
pay
with
up.
us.
When we're building the Death
submarines.
Star?
So I just want to thank everybody.
probably
and I'd
20,
like to
30 years.
ask
Hostility research
Secretary
complete.
Hegseth to say a few words, followed
Defilers
by
encroach upon us.
the Secretary,
minds
but
awaken.
if you would, Secretary of the
Whatever the
Navy.
unity wills.
But Pete's doing a fantastic
Desecrators
job.
assault our world.
By the way, we have
He said super duper
drugs
subs.
are down
Done and dusted.
96.2%
96?
coming into the United States.
Witness the unity's
92.6
might.
by sea.
Oh, 92.
And soon we'll be starting the same program on land.
Oh.
The land is much easier. But every one of those boats
Oh, shit.
that we knock
The
out
unity's
saved
might.
25,000 lives. So we saved 25,000
Your
lives
presence is
every
strong.
time we knock out one of those boats with the drugs pouring in. And you just have
Wow.
to see it. I mean, people say, "Oh, gee, do you think it was really drugs?" Well, just take a look. Bags all over the place. That's not fishing equipment. There's no fishing rods.
It's
on
a,
those
what about the
boats.
fishing
They move
submarine?
fast. When you see a boat with 4 engines or 5
What-
engines on, going 40, 50
What about the
miles an
fishing
hour,
submarines?
well, they get hit. We save
Harmony
25,000
research
lives
complete.
every single time we knock
Hostility
out a
research
boat.
complete.
And it's over
Desecrators assault our
96%
world.
stopped by sea. We're trying to figure out who the other 4% are, frankly. And we're going to have the same success, but even quicker. 'cause
Great.
It's much easier
An
on land. If they want to come by
auction
land,
is
they're going to end up
underway.
having a big problem. They're going to get blown to pieces because we don't want our people poisoned. 300,000 people died. Probably last year, 300,000.
Submarines
A
are
lot
to
of
get the
people say it was
expensive fish.
200. Somebody said last
They're
night
like,
it
yeah.
was only 175,000 people. That's like 3 stadiums, big football stadiums filled up with people died.
To place a
But I think the real number is 300,000.
Our
We're
minds
not going to have that
awaken.
anymore. So
We
we're
shall overcome.
we're doing a great job,
Harmony
and
research
Wow.
we enjoy doing it. Our border is secure. Our country is strong.
We blow their asses
Trillions
up.
of dollars is coming into our country
That's
from other
big.
countries and companies. They're building factories and plants,
Initiating
including auto
phase
plants,
jump.
all over the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Without
Our
tariffs, they
minds
wouldn't be doing
awaken.
anything, although they were very happy with the November 5th election. But it's only because they want to
Hostility
avoid paying
research
tariffs that
complete.
they're all coming in. And again, the biggest number was $3 trillion in history. That was China many years ago. Now
Harmony
it's
research complete.
$18 trillion,
You're
and that's just in 10 months. We think we could hit
Initiating
$20
phase
trillion.
jump.
That's investment in the
Defilers
United
encroach
States,
upon
including
us.
plant and equipment. So thank you very
It's a lot
much,
of
and
money.
I'll ask Pete to say a
We
few
are
words, and then
ready.
John. And if you have any questions, we'll take them. Thank you.
Oh, they're gonna do questions? Oh
Mr. President,
boy.
you're exactly right. There are no
Oh
fishing
boy,
poles,
we're gonna get questions.
no fishermen, and no fishing boats. Just drug dealers and narco terrorists. And with every strike, we're saving American lives. No other president was willing to do real deterrence. That's exactly what's happening.
Oh, by the way, I
It's an honor to
completely
be
agree
here,
with this.
Mr. President,
I totally agree with
Mr.
this.
Secretary Rubio,
Blow up the boats.
to talk about what peace
Yep.
through strength really looks like. You can talk about it, or you can invest in it and you can build it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what
Our
President Trump
vengeance
is
is
doing.
yours.
At the Department of War, we're restoring the warrior
The
ethos. In
unity
fact, the
calls
President
us to
mentioned the
action.
NDAA. We put into law
The warrior
merit-based.
ethos.
We put into law getting rid of DEI and political correctness.
No fat
That's
people.
now part of how our military operates. And
No
you see
fat
it in
people
record
or
recruiting
women.
in the spirit of the Department of War. We're rebuilding the military. President Trump did it once. He's doing again with
Whatever
historic
the
investments
unity wills.
today in shipbuilding.
May our
And we're reestablishing
vengeance be
deterrence.
swift.
Whether that's at the border, whether it's through Golden
the
Dome,
unity's might.
what happened with Midnight Hammer and what Iran
item
found
is
out,
complete.
those drug
What
boats,
they
and of
found
course,
out.
the Houthis opening up the shipping lanes. American strength is back on the world stage. And the announcement of the Golden Fleet, anchored by
The Golden
new battleships,
Fleet.
the biggest and most lethal ever,
Oh, shit.
accomplishes all 3 of those things and marks a generational commitment
Harmony
to
research
American
complete.
sea power. Across the entire department, we are developing new operational concepts, deploying cutting-edge technologies, and making major investments,
The
including
Golden Fleet.
in our Navy. This is happening in all domains, including space, as the president has
Hostility
talked about
research
before anyone
complete.
else. So
Defense
it's
upgrade
the highest of
complete.
domains and the lowest
Yes.
of domains under sea, and
We sense
especially
your
today in
presence.
sea power. That
That's
always
right.
has to be decisive, has been in the
Our
history of America,
vengeance is
and will
yours.
Those are the
continue to
Jewish
be
space
under the
lasers that they
leadership of
talk
President
about.
Trump.
We are stronger
We will
now.
make sure that anything that flows from our country and with our
We
allies,
await your command.
flows freely and uncontested. New and better
Your
ships will
presence is
provide
strong.
This is my
that
taxes?
deterrent
Yeah.
today and for generations to
Production
come.
I'm paying for
This
this.
new
is
class,
complete.
these new investments will be the types of things that for decades,
Trump
for centuries,
class.
the American people will
is
look back and thank President Trump
The
for having the
USS
vision
Defiance.
and willingness to invest right now in
Our
capabilities we
minds
need today, tomorrow, and
Military
long
structure
into the future. So,
complete.
Mr. President, thank you for this investment, and I'll hand it over
There
now.
goes affordable food. Oh no, we're gonna have more homeless people now.
Mr. President,
failed
Secretary
to
Hicks
place
says,
That's what we need.
thank you for being here on a very
Military
consequential
structure
day.
complete.
Big day.
Hostility
From my
research
very
complete.
first conversation with President Trump about serving as a
listening.
Secretary of the Navy,
Military
he's
structure
talked about the
complete.
great Iowa-class battleship and why America
We
doesn't build
sense
ships
that an
anymore
enemy has
with that
fallen.
kind of
Their
offensive
impurities no
firepower
longer
that
risk
takes the
polluting
fight
the
to the
unity.
enemy.
Who's the enemy?
During my time in the job,
Our
I've talked
vengeance
extensively
is
with our
yours.
combatant commanders,
Harmony
like
research
Admiral Paparo
complete.
and Admiral Cooper, and our CNO, Admiral Cottle. And what I've learned is that not only is the president's idea a good one, it's something that Navy
Production of the
desperately
item
needs
is complete.
and now has a formal requirement for. The future Trump-class battleship, the USS Defiant, will be the largest, deadliest, and most
Harmony
versatile
research
and
complete.
best-looking warship anywhere on the world's oceans.
It's gonna look good.
I want to
Oh.
thank the president for his vision
Golden
to make
Fleet.
this game-changing capability for the United States
Trump
Navy.
class. That's right.
Iowa was designed to go on the attack with the biggest guns, And that's exactly what will define the Trump-class battleships.
Our minds
Offensive
awaken.
firepower from the biggest guns of our era. This ship isn't just to swat the arrows. It is going to reach out and kill the archers. And for the first time in generations, we'll have a new
Hostility
leg
research
in
complete.
America's nuclear
You've made a
deterrence.
wise
Because the
acquisition.
Trump-class battleship will carry the nuclear-armed, sea-launched cruise missile.
Nice.
Striking dominance isn't all that the Trump-class battleship brings to the fight at
Yeah.
sea. It has the size and capacity to serve as a flagship for our fleet commanders, so
Everything
that they
is
can
gold.
command and control naval forces far out to sea.
The gold card.
As shown in the series, and the
Golden
president
Dome.
mentioned it,
Harmony
Victory at
research
Sea,
complete.
Admirals Bull Halsey
Yeah.
and Raymond
Hostility
Spruance
research
commanded the
complete.
war in the Pacific
That was World War II.
from their battleship flagships during World War II.
Yep.
Now this new battleship will command everything from warships to drones and everything in between. We're going to make battle groups great again. And this is just one piece
We
of
have
the
lost
president's
access
golden
to the
fleet
middle
that we're
market.
going to build with the investments he talked about. A new
Production
frigate,
of the
Are you going to
item is
war?
white frigate,
complete.
No.
the one our
Hostility
warfighters have
research
told us they
complete.
need.
No.
More amphibious power
have to pay
for our
for it.
Marines with new
Looking for
capabilities
something.
like medium landing ships.
Sacrifice begun.
As part of the
Unity
Navy's
needs
high-low
has
mix,
changed.
we're moving out
Your
aggressively
presence is
Too old.
strong.
unmanned
Yeah.
vessels with funding from the president's One Big Beautiful Bill to bring options to the fight and pull new, non-traditional defense partners into the American shipbuilding ecosystem. And we're making a generational investment in support ships. Logistics wins wars,
Our
and
minds
that kind of
awaken.
shipbuilding is the
True.
spark that will ignite the industrial base and help power the commercial shipbuilding that the president
Golden
has called
Plains.
for. Under your leadership,
That's
Mr.
true.
President, we will have
Hostility
more
research
tonnage
complete.
and firepower under construction than ever before in our history.
It's a lot.
Building the president's golden fleet means
Defiers
jobs
encroach
across the
upon
United
us.
States
Defense
now.
upgrade complete.
There'll be work for shipyards everywhere,
The
from
unity
Philadelphia
calls us to
to San
action.
Diego,
Harmony
from Maine to
research
Mississippi,
complete.
from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast.
Uh-huh.
And for manufacturers that will build components for this battleship in every
Harmony
state.
research complete.
The president has been clear.
Desecrators assault our
We must
world.
bring back our American maritime industrial might. And he has told me many times
Production
that as
of the
Secretary of the
item is
Navy,
complete.
it is my job to equip our sailors to win the fight at sea with the finest ships in our
Whatever
history.
the unity wills.
To conclude,
obviously.
the USS Defiant battleship will inspire
Mm-hmm.
awe and reverence for the American flag whenever it pulls into a foreign port. It will be a source of pride for every American
Harmony
when it brings
research
home our
complete.
brave sailors who will sail
You've
Defiant,
made a wise
raise their
acquisition.
fists, and say, "We are peace through strength." And our adversaries will know when the Trump-class USS Defiant appears on the horizon,
They're dead.
American victory at sea is inevitable.
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. President.
colonizable
Now,
planet
when a
has been
conflict
discovered.
arises, you are going to ask
Our
not one,
vengeance is
but two
yours.
questions. Where are the carriers
Harmony
and where are the
research complete.
battleships? Thank you.
Cleansing fire.
And where's the? How many people are
That
ordering?
John
Submit
Phelan is
to
one
the
of the most
unity
successful
or be
businessmen in
eradicated.
the country, in our country. It's been a tremendous success, and he wanted to do this, and
Our forces have
for
engaged the
nothing.
enemy.
He's taken probably the largest salary cut in history, but
Harmony
he wanted to do
research
it. He wants to
complete.
rebuild our Navy, and you
Hostility
needed that
research
kind of a
complete.
brain to
So he
do it
just showed up.
properly.
He's like, yeah, we're gonna build a bunch of ships.
Information on him, which is probably
Okay.
Anima are restless.
one of the most successful men in the
Great.
country.
Whatever the unity
He's
wills.
that because he understands it.
Production of the
And he
item
understands
is
finance in
complete.
addition to what we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Somebody who's doing a fantastic job is Marco Rubio, Secretary of State.
Not
And
enough
Marco, maybe say a
crystal.
few words, and then we'll answer some questions. Thank you.
What the hell is he supposed to talk about?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I don't
What?
have much to add. This is a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. This is American
Harmony
industrial
research
power
complete.
returning.
Yeah.
This is
Defense
the ability,
upgrade
once again,
complete.
to rebuild, to have industry in the United States.
He was not ready for
This
this.
is generational in the change, not just in terms of applying American war power, increasing our ability to protect the seas. The U.S. Navy is the single
Harmony
biggest
research
source
complete.
of peace in the world of all of our forces
Hostility
because it
research
gives us a
complete.
global footprint. But
Our
it rebuilds
vengeance
American
is
industrial
yours.
capacity. The ability to make things again in our
Military
country
structure
has been
complete.
critical to what the president's agenda has been all about.
I
and this is
generally
a
agree with
tangible
this, by the
reminder
way.
of it. And
Yeah,
I
true.
know the country's grateful for it, and generations of
Military
Americans will be
structure
grateful for it.
complete.
So thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Marco. By the way, I think
Our
I'd just like to
minds
point out that
awaken.
these ships are made of steel as opposed to aluminum. It's a big difference, as you know.
Harmony
Battleships are
Research
great
complete.
battleships,
Hostility
6 and
research
7-inch
complete.
steel hulls, and these are going to be likewise made out of very powerful steel.
Military
Our steel
structure
industry is coming
complete.
back very strongly, by the way. It's
Production
coming
of the
back at
item is
record numbers,
complete.
and we're going to be
a
using
good
them
thing.
for
Yeah,
the
sure.
steel, but as opposed to an
Our
aluminum
minds
side,
awaken.
which, in all fairness,
Military structure
is not the same.
complete.
So, John, we're going with all steel, I understand. Then that's going to be something that people are surprised, more expensive, but not even comparable in terms of the importance and the strength.
Our
Yeah, please.
minds
gonna be-
awaken.
For these first two ships, and do you see them as a
Yeah,
counter
we'll
to
start,
China?
we're going to start almost immediately.
When are they
and
gonna
we'll
do it?
Probably talking about
Harmony research complete.
2.5 years.
It's pretty good.
China?
Just a counter to everybody. It's not China. We get along great with China. I have a great
Your presence is
relationship with
strong.
President Xi.
Our
And not
minds
China, it's
awaken.
just everybody. You don't know who comes along.
Just a stun on them
But
hoes.
we
Yeah.
just wanted peace through strength. Hopefully, we
No
never have
doubt.
to use them. But there will never be
Yeah.
anything built like these.
Hostility
Think of it.
research
Those
complete.
battleships are incredible. These have
Harmony research
100 times the power.
Surprise taking questions.
And they
Yeah.
were big and they
Our
were
minds
powerful.
awaken.
You know, I thought about
Production of the item is
taking some that are in
complete.
dry dock and changing them. And then when I said that, you know, if we did, it would be
Military
about,
structure complete.
we could increase, if we doubled them, they'd be at like just a tiny fraction of what one of these was. This is the new technology, which is
The
What?
unity
incredible.
senses
So
that an enemy
we decided
has
pretty
finished
early
a
on not to
powerful
do that.
warship.
Yeah, please.
Our minds
Fully
awaken.
Rosas with most peaceful
We
media.
obey the
You just
unity's will.
referenced the lower amount of illegal drugs that are coming by sea, and you just said that
Yeah.
you're going to start that same program on land soon. Are you just referring to
Blowing
Venezuela, or are you referring
No.
to
No,
other?
blow everybody up.
Anywhere drugs
The
are pouring
fleet
in,
Blow
embraces
everybody up.
new
Okay.
not just
vessels.
Venezuela. No.
We
Yeah.
obey the unity's will.
Oil. What are we going to do
Our minds awaken.
Going to do with what?
with the oil that has been seized? The United States seized
Oh.
1.9 million barrels of oil on December
The
10th.
We're gonna
fleet
keep it.
embraces new vessels.
We're keeping it.
Sell it or put it in the strategic
Maybe
oil
we'll sell it,
Hostility
maybe we'll
research
keep it.
complete.
Maybe we'll use
shall
it
do
in
as you
the
command.
strategic reserves. We're keeping the ships also. Yeah,
Our
please.
forces have engaged the enemy. A colonizable planet
About
has been
Venezuela, sir, have you
discovered.
spoken to American oil
Production of the
companies
item is
that have had their
complete.
assets seized about what a post-Maduro
Yes.
Venezuela would mean for them, of what
Hostility
coming
I have.
back and restarting?
All
Harmony
the
research
big ones, yeah.
complete.
I have. Yeah, please.
Why do you feel like this initiative was neglected for so many years, and does this come amidst the rising tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela?
We're talking about with Venezuela?
Yes.
Well, you had a different kind of a president before me. They didn't mind being ripped off. They didn't mind being robbed. They didn't mind drugs pouring into our country. They didn't mind the jails of Venezuela and Trinidad and Nicaragua being emptied into the U.S., where they take over
Hostility
Colorado and
research
other places.
complete.
I do
Harmony
mind.
research complete.
So you had a
Our
different
fleet
kind
is
of a
trapped
president.
after
I hope
arriving at a phase
people
jump
are enjoying
inhibitor.
it because we've never been respected more than we
We
are now. Yeah,
sensed your
please.
presence.
He just doesn't give a fuck today, huh?
Thank you, Mr. President.
He
Are you
just doesn't
surprised
give
by
a
the
fuck.
number of photos of Bill
Production of
Clinton
the
and
item
Epstein
is
files?
complete.
And can you commit to their
By
full?
what?
And were you surprised by the number
We
of
seek
photos of Bill
minds to
Clinton and
make
the Epstein
our own.
files? And can
A
you commit to their full
colonizable
release by the
planet
end of
has
the year?
been
Some of the
discovered.
victims were protesting that
Whatever
too many of them were
the unity
redacted.
wills.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people.
That's me.
I think
I'm
it's
mad.
terrible. Look, I don't like.
Harmony research
I like Bill
complete.
Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly. But they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. He at Harvard was his best friend, Larry
Harmony
Summers.
research complete.
And Bill Clinton
Yeah.
was a friend of his, but everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago.
Production of
It's the
the
hottest
item
place
is
in,
complete.
I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here, he'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other
colonizable
people
planet has been
that innocently
discovered.
met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago.
He's right.
And they're
That's true.
highly respected bankers and lawyers
Yeah.
and others. And they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real
Too
low
bad.
life, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great
Damn.
state of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky, Kentucky is such a great place, but I don't know, they've got a couple of people on there that are very strange in terms of leadership, but Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there is
Out of how
tremendous
many?
backlash. It's an interesting question, because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party,
We seek minds
and
to
you
make
ruin the
our
reputation
own.
of somebody.
We shall do as
So
you
a lot of
command.
people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have $18 trillion coming into our country. We have, I believe, we're going to have the most successful economy in history. We inherited a mess. Now prices are coming way down. Gasoline is less than $2 in some states.
$2
$1.99, $1.97, $1.95 a gallon.
$195?
$1.95. Think of that. A gallon. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. They don't want to talk about
Your
that. They want to
presence
talk
is
about
strong.
Epstein.
Hostility research
And
complete.
the problem is a lot of
Production of the
Democrats have
item
been
is
caught up in the web,
complete.
like Larry Summers.
Our
Larry
will
Summers
shall be done.
was the head of Harvard.
Our
He's now been
vengeance
forced
is
to resign
yours.
from every board he's on, and he was thrown off the Harvard board.
He's really going off on
He
this,
was,
huh?
You know, he was at Epstein's Island a lot. I wasn't. I never went
Hostility
there, by the
research
way.
complete.
But
Oh.
We'll consider it.
fortunately, it's nice.
The
But I
future
never went
is
there. But a lot of
ours.
people did go there. But instead of talking about the battleships, or instead of
Very
talking
wise.
about most favored nations drugs,
Enable
we're
our
bringing down
revenge.
drug prices like at a level that has never even
is
been thought of, by
destined.
thousands. Think of it, by 1,000%, by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400% in some
Whatever
cases.
unity wills.
A drug that sells for $10 in London
We await
is
your
costing
command.
$130
We
in New
sense that
York.
an
That's a
enemy
lot.
has
We're bringing it
fallen.
down to
Their
$20, and they're going to
impurities
go
no
up to
longer
20.
risk polluting
So they're going from
unity.
10 to 20, which is a
We are
doubling.
ready.
Fuck him.
Whatever
doubling.
Yeah,
the
fuck 'em.
unity wills.
But it's a doubling.
Hostility
But we're going
research
down to
complete.
20.
Let the
So we're going down, if you can do your
We
own math,
await
but
your
it's,
command.
it's
We are ready.
2,000%, 3,000%. It's pretty amazing. And you
We
know, the
await
New York
the
Times had a
unity's
story about
command.
it, a small story, way in the back of the paper.
Hostility
It's the
research
single
complete.
biggest thing to happen in,
No bid.
with respect to drugs,
You
probably in
missed
50 years.
out.
It's never been anything like this. In my first term, I was able to get drug prices down 1/4%. It's the first time in 28 years that they went down. 1/4%. I was so
Wow.
proud of myself. Now we're doing them 2,000%, 1,500%,
That's a big one.
1,200%.
That's like more than Diablo
Revenge
Immortal.
awaits.
That pill
That's a lot.
Hostility
sold
research
for
complete.
We await the
$130
unity's command.
will now be selling, as an example,
It's 20
for
bucks.
$20.
That's what we say.
Because the rest of the world took advantage of us. Without tariffs, I could have never done it.
Our will
I called up the
is
heads of the countries.
transcendent.
As an example, France, I spoke to a very good man, President Macron of
The fleet
France.
embraces
Oh,
new
I thought he was gonna
vessels.
say-
said,
never
Emmanuel,
mind.
you have to raise your drug prices.
Our will
I said, no,
is
no, no, we will not
transcendent.
do that. I said, you have to.
We
I
obey
said, no,
the
I don't want to do
unity's
that. Look,
will.
you're asking me if we go to
Production of
$10
the
to
item
$20,
is
you're going to come way
complete.
down to 20.
Our will
We don't want
is
to do that. Now, in all fairness,
transcendent.
no other president even tried. But if they did try,
must
there was
act.
actually a fake story
Our
in
will is
stupid USA Today.
transcendent.
I didn't even think they'd make it anymore.
No.
But I saw a story where
Hostility
Biden
research complete.
was trying to do this. Biden never tried to do it. Biden didn't know he was alive. He never tried to do it. But they're taking it from $10 to 20, so he would say, and the other
He's
leader said the
alive.
same thing. No, we won't do it. I said, no, you're going to do it 100%. They said, nope, we're not doing it. We're not going to double our price. Because, again, if you go
Yeah.
from $10 to $20,
Then
they're
what did
doubling
you
the
say?
price. We're coming down, though, from
Yeah.
$130 to $20,
Right.
because we're going to get the lowest drug prices in the world. Whatever the lowest price is called favored nations, we're going to have the lowest price. So
that
I said,
right?
no, you're going to. No,
Oh no.
We shall do as you command.
Politically, it's
A
unacceptable.
colonizable planet
I
has
said,
been
Emmanuel,
discovered.
you're going to do it 100%. Please accept it now. Be nice. You're going to do it 100%. No, I will not. I said, yes, you are. I
Hostility
said, why do you
research
keep telling
complete.
me I am? Whatever you say. Because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on everything France sells into the United States.
What the?
No bid.
And that's
You
approximately
missed
20
out.
times more than I'm asking
Hostility
for with
research
respect
complete.
to.
What the fuck?
He said, oh, I see. Who needs air support? I agreed to do it. Every other country said the exact same thing. They all said, nope, I will not do it. I said, all right, on Monday morning,
Oh
you'll
my
have
God.
25% tariff. Everything you sell.
The fleet
In the
embraces
case
new
of
vessels.
France, it was wine,
We seek
champagne,
mines to
cars,
make our
everything they
own.
said.
Yeah.
It's 25 to 30 times the price. of
Baguettes.
The
at
unity
25%.
calls us to action.
Every single country agreed. And that was the big problem. The drug companies were difficult, but fine.
Well, got blackmailed?
We have a certain
Yeah.
control over the drug
Our
companies.
fleet is
We have no
trapped after
control over
arriving
these
at a
foreign
phase jump
nations.
inhibitor.
So every single country has
Production
agreed
of
to
the
do
item
this.
is
So we will
complete.
take that pill
A colonizable
price
planet has been
down as an
discovered.
example. Talking about not just pills, we're talking about everything.
Yeah.
We'll take it down from $130 a pill down to $20 a pill. And the rest of the world will take it from $10 a pill up to $20. It's the biggest thing ever to happen, and it's covered, barely covered in the New York Times because it's a fake newspaper. Yeah.
Hostility research complete. We have cleansed the planet of heathens.
Or that there's sufficient
Another
workforce
planet
availability
joins the
as you're
unity.
producing.
What a
these ships.
response.
How does the administration plan
Wow.
to ensure there is sufficient workforce availability as you're
Wow.
producing these ships?
We're going to
Enough
have it.
workforce.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also
Jesus.
going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of
Hostility
robots helping us.
research
because
Robots.
We need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots. But that's going to happen.
Nice.
We're going to have tremendous workforce. And in order to operate the,
Let the
you're always going
bidding
to need people.
commence.
You know, you could have robots, but you're going to have to get somebody to start those robots, and you're going to have to
Production of
improve
the
the
item is
robots, but we're
complete.
going to have robotic factories plus manpower. So we're going to have enough. We're going to need the help of robots and other forms of, I guess
Stuff.
you could say employment.
No
We're going to be
bid.
employing a lot of
You missed out.
artificial things, but the beauty is we're going to have more jobs than we've ever had. Just so you know, a number came out the other day. We have more jobs right now in the United
Hostility
States.
research complete.
More people are working right now in the United States than at any time in the history of our country.
Percentage-wise, or?
Pretty amazing. So we'll have the help of, you know, mechanical help, if you want to call it that. But we'll have
Those are the robot
tremendous
slaves.
employment. They'll be paid a lot of money.
Your
They'll
presence
they'll
is
do better
strong.
than they ever did.
The completion of this item makes us
Some may have been
stronger.
expecting a different kind of announcement today, hearing your Secretary of War and Secretary of State here. You mentioned strikes on land in Venezuela more than 15 times, even now, just in your
That's
recent
a lot.
remarks. Why should Maduro take your threats seriously? And
He can do whatever he wants.
what's your end game?
Maduro?
What's your end game?
We await the
There's no
unity's
answer.
command.
He can do whatever he wants. I mean, we
Hostility
have a
research complete.
Yeah, do whatever you
massive
want.
armada
Go ahead.
form,
New
the biggest
modules
we've ever had.
installed.
See what happens.
And by far the biggest we've ever had in South America.
Yeah.
He could do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the
Commerce
last time he's
upgrade
ever able to play
complete.
tough.
Hostility research complete.
They sent their prisoners into us. They sent people from jails, prisons. They sent people from mental institutions and insane asylums into the United
Just says he's
States.
gonna
Just walked
fucking
right
kill
in
him.
Because Biden had an open border policy.
Okay.
What the Biden administration did to our country can never be forgotten. They took in millions and millions, 25 million people over the course of 4
Hostility
years.
research complete.
Many of those people were murderers and
Item
drug dealers,
complete.
prisoners, rough prisoners. 11,888 murders. More than half of them killed more than one person. They came into our country.
Shouldn't have happened.
Military structure
Yeah.
complete.
I spoke to
Hostility
Tom Holman today. They
research
came down to
complete.
see me.
Item
And we had a
complete.
great meeting.
New
They've done an
modules
amazing job
installed.
of getting them out. We're getting them out very fast. But this should have never happened. But Venezuela was one of the... Venezuela took
senses that an
advantage
enemy has
of
finished
the
a
open borders
powerful
that Biden
warship.
created.
Defense
More than
It's actually
any other
25 million?
country.
No, it's 30
Trend
million
there are
illegals.
gangs all over.
It's 30.
Look, I mean, you have a
We
very
seek
weak
mines
governor
to
in
make our
Colorado.
own.
Look what happened in Colorado where they would occupy apartment houses. And he didn't want to do anything about it because he was
Planet
scared.
item ready.
Any
Our
other
will
questions?
is transcendent.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil from Venezuela, Colombian President Gustavo Petro
Hostility research complete.
criticized the United States by saying, well, the Southwest is stolen land and that it should be returned to Latin America. I just wanted to know what your response to that
Well,
is.
he has to watch because, you know, he's got...
Rage
drug
baiting?
Military
They
structure
make cocaine
complete.
in Colombia.
Just rage baiting the president.
He's no friend of the United
Military
States. He's
structure
very
complete.
bad guy. And he's got to watch his ass because he makes
A
cocaine and they
colonizable
send it
planet
into
has
the
been
United States
discovered.
of America
Our
from
fleet is
Colombia.
trapped after
We love the
arriving at a
Colombian
phase jump inhibitor.
people.
Item
I love the
complete.
Colombian people. They're
Military
great
structure
people, energetic,
complete.
smart, great.
He's gonna watch his ass.
His leader is a troublemaker. And he better watch it. You better close up those cocaine factories. They have at least 3 major
await the
cocaine
Unity's
factories. We know where they
command.
are. He better close
Item
them up
complete.
fast, yeah.
New modules installed.
By the way, it's made and sold into the
Military
United States.
structure
Comes through
complete.
Mexico.
Thank you,
Let
sir.
the
You named
bidding
Governor Landry to be new
commence.
special envoy to
We
Greenland.
seek
How do you,
mines to
where do you see
make
that
our
role
own.
entailing, and is it still your intention that
Well, he
Greenland
called
become
me,
part
and
of the
you know,
U.S.?
he viewed Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase. He said, "I'm governor of Louisiana," and he said,
What,
"I
you
would
wanna
love."
do-
I didn't call him. He called
You
me.
want to run it back?
The unity
Proactive.
wills.
He's a great guy. He's a deal guy. He's a deal maker type guy. And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population.
No
Denmark
bid.
won't sell
I
it?
don't know.
You
They say
missed
Well, why do we
out.
think we have the
Denmark has
battleships?
no money. They have no military protection. If they say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat, well, we were there with
Item
boats too, I'm sure.
complete. We are stronger now.
So we'll have to work it all out. But he,
How could it be yours if you don't have any
he felt
military?
very strongly. We need it for national. We need Greenland for national security.
Oh my
For
God!
minerals, we have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any
Holy
other country in the
shit.
world. We need
Production
Greenland
of
for
the item
national
is
security.
complete.
And if you take
Jesus
a look at Greenland,
Christ.
you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We
Is
have
that right?
Colonizable planet
And he
has
wanted
been
to
discovered.
lead the charge. So we're making him,
Yeah.
Marco, today, a special envoy to Greenland. Greenland's a big deal. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Item complete.
Talks that took
New
place this
modules
past weekend, and
installed.
could a trilateral discussion of sort be the next step for Ukrainian, U.S., and
So
Russian
the
delegations?
talks in Ukraine, Russia are going along. They lost, as you know, 27,000 soldiers
We
last
are
month.
ready.
Mostly soldiers, some people, but some people in Kiev, etc. But mostly
This refit
soldiers.
will heighten our
And the
wrath.
talks are going along. And I say that, you know, there's tremendous hatred between these
Nothing's
two-
gonna happen.
between
Yeah.
President
Await your
Putin,
command.
President
No
Zelensky,
progress,
tremendous
guys.
hatred. And I hope we can get it done. We are talking. Talks are going okay.
No progress.
But, you know, I've solved 8 wars. And
Defense
Thailand is
upgrade
starting to
complete.
ship.
9. Don't forget the console war.
Production of the item is
but
complete.
I think, Marco, we have that in pretty good shape. To have
Wait,
that
they're
stopped.
they're already
We
doing it
stopped
again?
8 wars. And I thought this would be in the middle of the pack, but maybe easy, but in the middle of the pack. But there's a lot of hatred between those two people, and when there's hatred, there's... But
They're
we
back.
stopped one war 38 years, one war 35 years, one war was going on for 32 years.
A
And
colonizable
we
planet
stopped,
has been
think of
discovered.
it, we stopped a potential nuclear war between Pakistan and India. And the head of Pakistan, highly
Military
respected
structure
general,
complete.
Oh.
he's a field marshal. And also the Prime Minister of Pakistan
seek
said
mines to make
President
our
Trump saved
own.
10 million lives, maybe
Military
more.
structure
They did
complete.
say that about him.
You know, 8
They
planes
did.
were shot
Pakistan
down.
did
That
say
war
that
was
about him.
starting to rage. And
It's
he actually
true.
said the other day that President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more. So we solved all these wars. The only one I haven't solved yet
New modules
is
installed.
Russia, Ukraine.
Military structure complete.
Deadline with Russia and Ukraine, and have you spoken with Putin or Zelensky or
Christmas
plan
Day.
to
I'll
push
do
the
whatever
deal?
I have to do. I mean, I'd like to see it stop.
I'm gonna
Look,
do
we
whatever
don't
the
lose
fuck.
any money.
refit
We
will
don't
heighten
anymore.
our
You know,
wrath.
Biden gave
Got it.
$350 billion.
He's just
and
gonna
who
do
knows
whatever
what
the fuck.
happened to it. We now sell
Understood.
missiles, planes, all of the best
Defense
military
upgrade
equipment. We sell it to
complete.
NATO. We got NATO to go from 2%
Military
GDP
structure
to 5%. Nobody believed that to this day. Nobody's going to write that, but nobody believed it.
Wow.
And they take that money and they pay
Military
it to the
structure
United
complete.
States for weapons. So we sell weapons to NATO. We sell full price. We sell weapons to NATO, and NATO takes those weapons and probably distributes them, but gives a lot of them to Ukraine. So we're not, we don't lose any money like we did with Biden. He was spending money like a
discount.
fool. He was a fool. What he did to our
Military
country is so
structure
horrible.
complete.
But he gave
We
350
are
billion between cash, gave a lot of cash. 350 between cash
I
and
feel like
weapons.
Biden kind of sucked,
Remember
huh?
at the beginning of that whole thing, I gave
Man.
them javelins. Javelins are the anti-tank busters.
Military structure
And
complete.
President Obama at the time gave them sheets. I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But
Military
you know,
structure complete.
bottom line, it's time for, I think they're all tired of that war. Everyone's tired of that war. It's got to stop. Yeah, please.
Probably true.
Of an sanctioned oil tanker yesterday. Are you able to share what became of that tanker? Was the U.S. able to seize
No,
it?
it's moving along.
Military structure
We'll end up
complete.
getting it. Yeah, we're actually pursuing it. Can you imagine?
They're running it
Because
down.
it came from the wrong location. It came out of Venezuela.
Military structure
And it was sanctioned.
complete.
Yeah, please.
Goal in Venezuela to force Maduro from power.
Do they
Well, I
have?
think it probably would. I can't tell that. That's up to him what he wants to do.
It's up to him.
I think it would be smart for him to do that. But again, we're going to find out. Look,
Item
Venezuela,
completion confirmed.
It's up to
terrible
him.
things in the United States. They sent hundreds
We
of
await the
thousands of
unity's
people,
command.
millions of people
I've
into
heard
our
this
open
before.
border.
Our vengeance
They sent
is yours.
their criminals, they sent their
Our
prisoners, they
hearts
sent their drug
burn with
dealers,
rage.
A new
they sent
fleet
their
is
mentally insane and
We await
incompetent
the
people.
unity's
Yeah, we
command.
already
Into
have
our
enough of
country, more
those.
than any other country. Others did too. The Congo did.
We got a lot of crazy
Others
people.
did too.
The
And we just let
Congo.
them come right in because we were
Why
run
do
by
they
a
keep
stupid
resetting
president.
him?
You don't have a stupid president anymore.
Yeah, I
Mr.
guess so.
President, have you set up the meeting with the healthcare insurers just yet? And what are you hoping
Yeah.
to get?
I'll
How are
be
you hoping
setting
to
it up.
lower
I think we're
costs?
going to meet
Have changed.
with healthcare, the healthcare insurers, the insurance companies.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm asking for in healthcare
We
is very
seek
simple.
minds to make
Obamacare is a
our
disaster. I call it the unaffordable care act. Unaffordable as opposed to
That's what they say.
unaffordable. They're going to have a tremendous increase
That's
in
what they
premiums,
say.
which is Obamacare, which is them, the Democrats' fault. They'll try and blame Republicans. It has nothing to do with us. It's the Democrats' fault. What I want to do is we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year that go to insurance companies.
Yeah,
I
fuck 'em.
want that money to go to the people and let the people buy their own health care.
He's right.
And
He's right.
everybody loves it. It's become our issue.
Yeah, true.
Now, before I do that, I'll meet with the insurance
Trump
companies,
cares?
just as I met with the drug companies, as you know. We're
Just to
meeting
let
with
them
4 other
know?
drug companies, Johnson & Johnson. But they've all
Based,
agreed.
yeah.
We're meeting with them.
Yeah, they're
this week.
siphoning
It's
off
coming.
billions of
They've all
dollars.
agreed.
Fuck
To
'em.
make our own.
But nobody would have thought the drug companies were going to do what they did. Were they giving away free drugs? They've been so great. Okay? And we have most favored nations. Nobody thought that was possible.
I've heard of that.
I don't think any other
From him.
president ever tried to get it because they never thought they could.
Let the
But with
bidding
respect to
commence.
the insurance companies,
Our
I want to
minds
meet. There's
await
essentially
Epstein care?
14 of them, 10 big, but there's a total of 14 pretty much, pretty big. And I want to meet with them, and I want to say, I want you to cut your rates way down, way down. And
So he's just
maybe
gonna
if
tell
they
them to
do
make
that,
less money.
Calls us
we'll
to
be able to
action.
not cut them out. We'll be able to continue to deal with them, which is probably a
Item
little
completion
easier
confirmed.
process. I think the best
No
process
bid.
is pay the
You
money directly
missed
to the people,
out.
let them buy their own
Our
health
minds
care.
Yeah,
awaken.
true.
But
Powering
I'm going to meet with them the first week back. I do it now, but they're
Defilers
trying to come up
encroach
with
upon
a
us.
schedule. They want
Our
to.
fleet
They
is
want to meet
trapped after
badly.
arriving at a
They've
phase
told
jump
me.
inhibitor.
Not bad.
But they want to come up with a schedule. I
That's
said, make it a good
anti-capitalist?
schedule.
Thank
Your
God.
rates have to come way down. We're also going to meet with other insurance companies because under Biden, the insurance rates have gone through the roof. Auto insurance, home insurance. I mean,
Their end
insurance
was
companies are
always
making
inevitable.
far more than they're entitled.
What was the question?
So we're going to be doing that. But just in the meantime, we'll be meeting with the insurance companies in the first week, the first few days back in Washington, because they're trying to come up
files?
with a proposal that will satisfy me.
Nobody-
Thank you very much,
The planet of
everybody.
healing.
That's it.
I hope you're going to
Another
enjoy
planet
the
joins
battleships.
the
They're going to be
unity.
beautiful. Thank you. And have a great Christmas if I don't speak to you. Thank you very much.
Item completion confirmed.
Wow. So that guy better
Hostility
watch his
research
ass.
complete.
Okay. Well, I would say that this is exactly like this was more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be boring. It wasn't boring at all. That was funny. That was entertaining. Absolutely. And yeah, there you go. I mean, again, I agree that they need to do more, but you know, who knows what the fuck is actually going to happen? Like, if they want to build more ships, I don't really give a fuck about this. I don't care. Like, go ahead and do it. Don't do it. It's up to you, right? I don't have a strong opinion on it. But overall, I'd say it was a decent event, right? Sure. So the Trump class of ships, and we are building the Golden Fleet under the Golden Dome. People can come to the country with the gold card. I mean, guys, the funny thing is that this is exactly what people that hated Trump said that he was going to do. That he was going to make everything gold and put his name on everything. And he became president, and he made everything gold, and he's putting his name on everything. The Golden Age, yeah. He's just doing it, right? The Golden Empire, the Golden Order. If he says that, that would be insane.
Defense upgrade complete. Whatever the Unity wills. Military structure complete.
Nobody can afford video games anymore.
Complete.
Yeah.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble. Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has. The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago. RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months.
Is RAM having what GPUs had like 4 years ago? Is that what's happening?
Military structure complete.
And I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, this is a PC problem. No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything. Handhelds,
I'm not
consoles,
as familiar with
whatever else. Everything is going to get dragged up with all of it. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have guessed?
Wow.
And these data centers are doing everything they can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a piece of that money.
Yeah.
And that's pushed these guys to raid the consumer market for products.
Yep.
Buying up everything off the shelves before we even have a chance to get our hands on it, causing a lot of scarcity and making prices skyrocket with no end in sight. The part that really bothers me with all of this is just how obvious this plays. These guys are just getting way too sloppy for me. It's starting to aggravate me at this point. Like, if you're going to be a scammer, you gotta try to hide it a little bit. But these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore.
No, they don't. People just eat this shit, man. They let it happen.
They're not trying to do anything to fix any of these issues. They're not scrambling to fix any of these supply issues. Instead, they're milking it. They're keeping their production tight, they're raising the prices, and they're using AI as the best excuse possible for them to just continue to take advantage of regular people, to squeeze you harder than they ever have before. And they're doing it all with governments backing them. They're going to drag this out as long as they possibly can, because every single month that they keep these prices higher, they're just going to continue to rake in record profits.
I think that the companies probably want to produce more of them. It's just that you can't make a supply chain change that fast. I mean, just realistically, like, you can't do that.
But today, what I want to do,
and like, that's what happened with like the graphics cards like 4 or 5 years ago. Wrong? It's not. Like, look into it. The fact is that sometimes the markets can move so fast that these companies aren't able to adapt to them. Like, another good example is cars. Like, we've had the same issue with cars, especially with like different, I think it was semiconductors that were, or like some sort of chipset for cars where it was hard to even buy new cars. It's everything. It's control, brother. I think that I think that realistically, it's probably both. I think that there is a degree of manufactured scarcity, but there's also a degree of just a realistic supply chain scaling logistics reality.
I want to talk about those insanely high prices and who's causing them. I want to talk about how I think the games industry is using this moment to be able to manipulate us, and how I think this entire thing might backfire on them in the most glorious of ways. This video is sponsored by Displate, and right now they are running their biggest sale of the year. From now until the end of their campaign.
I got a Displate. An ex-girlfriend sent me a Displate of Dark Souls 3. And I put it up, and I remember reading this thing. It said, don't put this on something that's an uneven surface. And I'm thinking to myself,
let the bidding commence.
What the fuck do I ever read? And so I just put it up against an uneven surface. And I remember about an hour later, I heard the loudest sound. The loudest sound, and it was right there. So it was like it started banging down the fucking stairs, and like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? The worst did happen. Yep.
The fleet embraces
You can get up to 46.
I don't know why Israel would do that to me, man.
You missed out.
How could this happen?
We seek mines to make our own.
% off site-wide using my code legendary at checkout. 1 to 2 metal posters for 37% off, 3 to 4 for 43, 5 or more at 46. The full breakdown is going to be in the pinned comment and on the on-screen banners, but this is the best deal that you're going to see all year. Displate makes high-quality metal posters that mount magnetically, no tools, no frames, and no wall damage. You just stick a magnet to the wall, snap the poster on. It only takes seconds, and these guys have over 1 million designs to be able to choose from. Games, anime, movies, fantasy, tech, you name it. And they're still running their officially licensed Path of Exile 2 collection. I definitely checked that out. I got a full set that was sent over to me, and every single one of these looks incredible in person.
You know, like, I don't know if I ever told this story, but S-Fan had some of the fan art that was made for us in Classic WoW. And it was like in the Classic WoW beta, and he had them made in Displates, and he was giving them out. And he had a smaller one made for my dad, and he gave it to me to give to my dad, and my dad had it at like his table like the whole time. Like a small one, it was like me, S-Fan, and then McConnell, like you know, like looming over us, like he's a fucking like Merlin or something like that, like a fucking wizard.
The unity calls us to action.
Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more personal, check out their custom displays. You can upload your own images, photos, arts, memes, whatever you want, maybe a family portrait, and turn it into a gift-worthy metal print just in time for the holidays. Use code legendary at checkout. Hit the link in the description and take advantage of this year's biggest sale. We have talked a lot about prices on this channel, and we are going to continue to talk about prices on this channel, because if there is one thing that I actually want to bring to this space, it is awareness. Most people feel helpless when they see these prices spike. They feel like they're being pushed out of their own hobby, like decisions are being made for them by people who don't even care about games in the first place. But the more that you guys understand what's happening, the easier it is to see the pattern. And guys, navigating what's coming next is going to get very hard, very fast. After the reveal of the Steam Machine, the first thing I saw was everyone arguing about the price. A lot of people were convinced it needed to be $500 or $700.
It's going to be $1,000. I think it's going to be $1,099. That is my expectation.
Are we doing this?
And I have bet 5 giveaways that if it is beyond plus minus $100 of that, I will give away 5 Steam machines to the community.
I won't let you down.
We await
That's
the
where I'm
unity's
at.
command.
Dollars at max, and then Valve should subsidize it to bring in more users. A whole different topic for another video, because Steam does not need a loss leader to get more people through the door. But I took the time to actually dig into the potential hardware costs and ended up chiming in on Twitter saying that Valve isn't posting the price because they're hoping that things change. The AI bubble has pushed RAM to obscene levels, almost 200% this year. People are saying it should be $500. That's the price of RAM alone.
$500. Like, who thought that was going to happen?
Now, this is a bit hyperbolic. Sure, I was using the highest end hardware prices, but the more that I researched this trend, the darker the picture became, not just for Valve's console, but just for gaming as a whole. Right now, we're seeing hardware prices skyrocket across the board. All of it's tracing back to rapid data center expansion, a tidal wave of investment that's been poured into AI. According to Stanford, the U.S. has almost already spent $110 billion into private investments just in 2024. Global spending in generative AI is already up 600% between 2022.
Oh my God, look at that graph. Total investments of billions of dollars.
Spit it
Jesus.
out.
In 2024, and in 2025 that number is estimated to hit $1.5 trillion. With that kind of money flying around, AI firms are expanding their data centers and buying up existing hardware at a pace that consumers simply cannot compete with. That demand alone is enough to be able to drive these prices through the roof, and that's before you even factor in scarcity.
Yep.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. How many people have been ignoring this? We have seen companies and even the media try to blame these price hikes on tariffs. They've been doing it all year. We've covered it on this channel, but this isn't about trade policy. This is an increase. It's driven by raw demand for components, and everyone is just letting these hardware companies and these software companies spin whatever narrative they want, whatever narrative benefits them, with almost no pushback at all. How has nobody questioned this? These
I think that the reason why is that, I mean, number one, tariffs are a more convenient thing for the media to use because they can blame that on Trump. So if you look at, like, this is the same thing with, like, I think eggs are a great comparison here. The reason why the price of eggs was so high towards the end of Biden's presidency is because there was an avian flu that went around and killed all the birds. That's the main reason why. It's not because of Biden. It didn't go down because of Trump. This was a third-party thing that happened, and both parties were trying to blame and then assign blame or avoid blame for this thing. Biden gave the birds the flu on purpose, so maybe he did. I don't know. He could be a wizard. But the point that I'm making is that, yes, I think that this is the same thing. Europe, I think this is something I looked at the other day a little bit, but it looks like it's getting a lot worse, is that basically I think inside of Europe there is a growing there's a growing resentment I think people have that they are being ruled over by unelected bureaucrats in the EU. I think this is just a general sentiment that Europeans have as a whole. By Europeans, I mean people in the EU.
Farmers from all across Europe have begun to surround the EU headquarters in Brussels. As the protests eventually became a fiery riot, the Belgian police began to deploy their water cannons.
Of course.
To which the farmers responded
what the fuck?
blasts of manure, somewhat similar to Dragon Ball Z, just crappier.
Yeah, like Harry Potter or something.
And although this seems silly, the situation is quite serious considering the farmers are the only thing that stands between the citizens and starvation. So what exactly is making these agriculture workers from all across Europe revolt against the European Union? As yesterday, farmers traveled across the country to Belgium, arriving late into the evening outside the European Union building, eventually setting fire to the trees outside.
Jesus, why are they doing that? I feel like those people don't look like farmers to me. They just look like retards. I don't think they should let them put out set the trees on
local law
fire.
enforcement began preparing for the protesters. Now, several farmers explained what they were angry over.
Yeah.
But not knowing French, apparently they're protesting competition with foreign farmers that don't have the same regulations as they do.
Yeah, you can't compete against like a country that is that's exporting things whenever the country that's exporting them isn't following the same rules that you are. It's kind of like, how could you compete in like an FPS game if the person who you're going up against is like has an aimbot, right? They're gonna beat you every single time. So the problem is that it's not really a free market when you're handicapped by like 5 or 10 different things and your opponent isn't. Like you're just gonna lose. Like you've got your arm tied behind your back, right?
I'm all for the free market, but it's hardly free when local farmers have carbon emission standards and taxes, increasing minimum wages, and general quality expectations. And now the EU says local food is getting too expensive, so let's import cheaper goods from places that don't have those regulations we implemented. So maybe that's why angry farmers are dropping off potatoes to be tossed at the European Parliament building.
Yep, they're fucking pissed, I bet.
We await the Unity's command.
I'd be pissed too.
As they were tear-gassed, the farmers used tennis rackets to pass them back.
Military structure complete.
The smoke grenades?
Now this went on for quite some time, at almost a stalemate, until their tractors were used to tear down their barricades.
Jesus.
Military structure complete.
posting up a sign.
The fucking siren sounds. Oh my god.
That roughly translates to, here begins the dictatorship in French, as blue-collar protesters have no issue hauling away heavy planters.
That's true. Yeah, these guys are fucking farmers. You know, they've got no problem moving shit around. Yeah.
Colonizable planet has been discovered.
Damn.
Military structure complete.
Then coming in with a automatic firework cannon.
They're professionals? Yeah. Jesus.
Desecrators assault our world.
Starting a large tire fire in the
My
courtyard,
God.
then dropping off hay bales to make it worse.
Jesus.
As eventually, the riot police began to push back the farmers. The tractors did stay.
It's crazy how much chaos is over there. Oh my god.
Each somewhat of a counterattack, pushing back the police.
Military structure complete.
I saw this part. This is one of the clips I saw the other day.
Even tossing rocks or abnormally large potatoes at the cops.
All systems are failing.
Those rocks are okay. I think those are rocks. Those have to be
But
rocks.
eventually, the water cannons prevailed. Forcing out the farmers from the courtyard.
The Unity has fallen silent on one of our planets. Military structure.
Jesus.
And even whacking the stragglers with their crime-fighting
Military structure
sticks.
complete. The Unity will survive this.
God damn.
Well, the farmers finally fled the scene, and into the evening, local citizens began
There's more potatoes.
collecting the left
It's an ammo drop.
which is just a subtle reminder that these aren't far-left Antifa protesters.
Yeah.
These are the farmers that feed us. So what exactly has them so angry, and whose side should you be on? As the mainstream media basically has zero credibility. So let's just look at the AP's article on the South American Free Trade Deal, reporting the farmers believe the agreement will undercut their livelihoods,
Yeah, of
but
course.
there are political concerns that it's driving support for the far right.
Awaits.
Oh my god.
We shall do as you command.
Are you kidding
Military
me?
structure complete.
There are political concerns that it's driving support for the far right. Have you ever thought about why that is, maybe?
You've made
Right,
a wise
as the deal will make trade between the EU and several South American countries free
I
from
think these people still think that, well, if we use this word, then they'll have to stop doing it because they're afraid of the word. I think that we're in a place now where I don't think people are really as afraid of words as they were before. It's crazy.
on almost all goods. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an expert in import duties, but what I do understand is this is pretty much the exact opposite of what President Trump is doing for America. As Trump's tariffs get constantly slammed by the liberal media, writing, the affordability crisis is real, and Trump's tariffs caused it, which is exactly what the Democrats want them to say, complaining about the record high prices, despite the fact that this is mainly, if not entirely...
Wait, what? I was about to say, I was reading this, like, yeah, so Trump, it didn't go... So, I mean, wait, they posted this this makes Biden look pretty bad.
Their fault. Completely ignoring the $200 billion tariff revenue it has generated. And the cash is a nice bonus, but it's not the intended effect of the tariffs. It's the bolstering of both jobs and national security by bringing manufacturing back to America, which the corporate media already has their lies ready and waiting, despite the huge investments into American manufacturing across...
It's undeniable that it's a national health, or not national health, national security risk that all of our manufacturing is done overseas. Because that means if we have a conflict with another country, they could theoretically shut down our manufacturing and it would cause us a bunch of problems. Really, I mean, like, so this is, regardless of whether it makes jobs or not, this is still something that's good.
Several industries totaling hundreds of
COVID showed
billions
that?
of
It
dollars.
did. COVID showed that a
Although
lot.
I'm not exactly certain of the specifics.
Supply chains compromised?
Selling out
Absolutely.
your local farms for cheaper foreign food.
Yep.
I completely distrust the mainstream media's pluses as to why it's good for us. As the AP's article again frames this as worrisome far-right rallies, saying this free trade deal will counteract China and the US's Blitzkrieg. The
Oh,
mainstream
wow.
media's false framing has become so insane. Every article is basically, here's the racist, evil, misogynistic, fiend of puppies, Nazi Trump policy, versus or equal rights, feed the needy, healthcare for everybody, globalism agenda. It sounds like a joke, but we just saw them literally do exactly that. Invoking Trump's tariff blitzkrieg is no accident, especially in a short article that suggests
Who did Blitzkriegs originally? I forgot.
farmers as far
Ah,
right.
jeez, guys.
It's almost like there's this
Yeah, it's a
preconceived
mystery.
agenda to get you against the local farmers.
The Nazis?
And
Oh.
just accept whatever genetically
way.
modified soy slop the third world will serve you. But the worst part about all of this
Well, the problem really, it's like I don't have a problem taking food from third world countries in some regards, but the issue is that if it's being done in a way to undercut American wages or, you know, French wages, so the farmers in France aren't able to take care of themselves because they're competing on an uneven playing field. Like if you're competing against people that don't have to go through the regulations that you do, if you're competing against people that don't have to go through like all the other things you have to do, then also like, by the way, how are they going not doing these regulations, but you're still importing their food? If these regulations were important, wouldn't you not want to import their food if they aren't going through these regulations? So why do the regulations even exist if there's a way that you can just trade with them and bring the food in anyway? You see what I'm saying? Like none of this makes sense at all. No bananas? Yeah, I don't think people have a problem. Like for example, you know, you live in Norway, maybe you can't grow a lot of pineapples. Okay, that's fine. You can import those. But like if you're doing it to displace workers that are there, I think that's obviously a problem. How would anybody think it's not? Do you think I should shoot the farmers since they're throwing big rocks and even tried to ram the police with the big tractors? I'm gonna perm ban you for asking that because you're not really asking that. You're trying to create a inconsistency in what I'm saying. Yeah, you're trying to make a false comparison. And I will answer your question because again, you will have your gotcha question answered, but it will cost you your account. The reason why I'm okay with Europeans doing it is because they're not able to protest and vote to change these things. So basically, I think violent protest and rioting is acceptable when democracy is not available. The problem is that these people aren't necessarily able to vote on these things. So they're not being represented by the public. They're not being represented by the government. So they have no political alternative than to be violent.
Forces have engaged.
You see kind of what I'm saying for that?
We are ready.
So that's the difference, is that in a country where you have a democratic alternative to solve problems, then it's reasonable to expect people to go through that democratic alternative. But if you don't have a democratic alternative, then yeah, you absolutely, you have to do that.
is finding out exactly what is going on at the European Union right now. Apparently they're threatening them, saying money today or blood tomorrow, as they need more money for Ukraine.
Around about 137 billion
the Unity's command.
Europe should
Production
cover
of the
two-thirds.
item is
And this is
complete.
not just about numbers.
We obey
It's
the
also
Unity's
about
will.
ramping up the cost of
Planet
war
item
with
ready.
Russia.
With the UK's Prime Minister, Tuir Keir, explaining who their real enemy is.
Yeah, they didn't vote for her. They didn't vote for her. That's the problem, is you have these people that are making decisions for the French that don't care about France. That's the fundamental problem, is that the people that are in the EU do not care about the best interests of these individual countries. They care about the collective economic goals of the EU that don't necessarily reflect the best interests of the people in the individual countries. This is an unelected fucking government, basically. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And of course people are going to be mad about that.
Our shields are
conflict
offline.
and for chaos
down.
is already there and it will only
unity
grow.
can
And
save
Russia is
us now.
already menacing our
Whatever
skies,
the
our
unity
waters,
wills.
our streets,
We
and
seek
our
minds
national
to make our
security.
own.
Preparing their citizens to sacrifice themselves.
Purchasing over power? Yeah.
It is absolutely clear that Russia's hard power is something to fear. Sons and daughters, colleagues, veterans will all have a part to play, to build, to serve, and if necessary,
Production of the
to fight.
item is complete.
And more families
Revenge
will know
awaits.
what sacrifice for our nation means.
It's bad enough.
I don't think that you're going to have people that are willing to enlist into the army and go to war in order to fund the lifestyles of migrants and to have their jobs offshored to South America and be undercut while their quality of life consecutively goes down. You're not going to get people to sign up for the military and be willing to do this. No one's going to fight in that war. Yeah, it's not going to happen, guys. And so I do feel like eventually this will come to a head. Because it will have to, right? It's obviously going to have to. They're warmongering? Yeah, I think so. And yeah, what are they fighting for? Exactly. Yeah, what are these people fighting for? So they can continue to be ruled by bureaucrats in the EU and have their country overrun by migrants? Like, why would somebody want to go out and fight a war for that?
They've proven they just see their citizens as tax cattle to fund all their ineffective progressive nonsense. But now, they're saying they see your sons as sacrificial lambs to a war that a majority of them forgot about. Which brings up the bigger concern of all those foreign newcomers that already fled this war once before, when Ukraine was initially invaded and have been receiving social benefits in the EU ever since. So if these European leaders think they can just send their citizens to be the first to fight their newest war to defend the men that refuse to fight it, I think their protests are going to become a lot worse than manure.
Absolutely. I think if they start trying to arrest people and force them into like military service in order to defend the country, I think it's going to be total fucking chaos. Like absolute massive fucking chaos.
So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy.
Civilian structure complete.
Stop reading the EU officials are not elected. Only Ursula is appointed by an elected parliament. I mean, do you think that the EU officials and the people inside of the EU care about the best interests of France? Or do they care about expanding the economic goals of the EU collectively, regardless of what's in the best interest of Frenchmen? What do you really think it is? Because like they're not, I think it's very like you can come up with all these like elaborate reasons of like why it's okay for them to do this, but at the end of the day, it's very obvious these people don't give a shit about it. If they did, they wouldn't be importing infinity migrants. So all they care about is making the number of the economic graph go up and consolidating more money and power for themselves. So yeah, of course the people are going to be angry about that. They absolutely should be. So yeah, I mean, I totally support that 100%.
Powering phase engines.
Mining upgrade complete.
So indie games recently have been popping off. And I mean like really popping off. Like they've been doing extremely well. I'm actually even kind of shocked at how well a lot of these indie games are doing. And why are indie games performing so well? I will tell you why. It's because they are actually video games. Like if I go right now and I look at SteamDB, how many of these video games are indie games? Banana is unfortunately an indie game, and I think Repo is an indie game, and it looks like Megabonk is no longer on the list, but Megabonk was also an indie game, and so was Ball Pit very recently. Give me 1 second, I've got to use the bathroom, and then we're going to watch the video, okay? So yeah, it's been crazy. Why don't you take the mic with you? Because I have to pre-watch the entire video while I'm gone, so I know how to react to it in the most optimal way. That's clearly what's going on.
In the last few weeks, 6 indie games have been released.
I love this game, by the way. This is, like, I've been playing this game a lot off stream. This game is so good.
By teams of 5 people or less, and combined they've sold over 8 million copies. While studios with hundreds of developers, hundreds of millions in the bank are shutting down, these absolute lunatics are winning, and it's not even close. 2025 has proved something. When you make something genuinely new, genuinely weird, genuinely passionate, we notice. 6 games, all completely unique, all from tiny teams willing to try something no one else would, and they're being rewarded for it, because innovation beats budget, risk beats formula, fun beats focus groups.
Well, look at Napoleon Dynamite, for example. I mean, think about how successful that movie was, and that shit was filmed with a budget of like, I'd say like $16, right? I mean, that's it. A lot of video games, you don't really need to do a whole lot of crazy stuff. All you really need to do is just make something that's fun to play. And you don't need $1 billion for
Another
that.
planet joins
Gaming
the
isn't
Unity.
broken, it's
That's
just
it.
happening somewhere else right now. And
Yeah.
this year, it's undeniable. Indie games are winning, so let's break down these 6 games and why they matter. Let's start with the most ridiculous one, RV There Yet. It's a co-op game where up to 4 players try to drive a falling apart RV out of a deadly valley. Kind of like Overcooked meets off-roading, you're steering, repairing,
I really feel like this is the one thing as a streamer that I don't do. I never play video games with other people. I feel like if I did that, the last time that I did that was whenever me, McConnell, and Grayson played Dark and Darker, when Dark and Darker first came out, and people loved it. I gotta do that again.
Time to bid.
a
Place
vehicle
them
up
high.
cliffs while everything explodes around you. It's physics-based chaos.
That was a good day.
5 people made this. Veterans from Coffee
5
Stain,
people?
the Goat Simulator studio, but still 5 people,
Jeez.
and they built the game in 3 months. Started as a game jam prototype. They liked it, fleshed it out.
You're
shipped
telling me they cooked this thing up in 3 months? And you got... Oh, man.
Production
Come
of the
on.
item is complete.
It 3 months from concept to release. It cost just £6, sold 1.3 million copies, hit 100,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first weekend. And for context,
That's
that's
incredible.
more than most AAA games see at launch. And here's why it works. They embraced the jank, the RVs.
It's because the game's good. And yeah, you're right. A lot of friction inside of video games, like developers that are good know how to create good friction. Developers that are bad create bad friction. It's pretty simple.
Funky controls, the physics glitches that send you flying. It's not a bug, it's a feature. They knew it, shipped it anyway because the chaos was the point. Speed, madness, fun over perfection, and it paid off. These guys are laughing all the way to the bank right now. Then there's Clover Pit.
Honestly, like watching this does make me want to play the game.
Military
Now
structure.
warning, because this one is addictive. Don't say I didn't tell you.
Queso beat this game solo. Did he?
It's a roguelike where you're trapped in a cell with a demonic slot machine. You spin to earn coins to pay off your debt each round, or you literally fall into a pit. It's part
Why
luck,
can't we do this in real life?
Arriving at a phase jump inhibitor.
part strategy. You're manipulating reels, triggering combos.
So
using
this is like Balatro, but you die?
The fleet embraces new
charms
vessels.
to bend the odds,
Our
trying to
animals stand
snowball
ready.
into a lucky
A
run
wise
before you go
choice.
bankrupt. 2 people made this game. 2 Italian dudes from Panic Arcade.
Nice.
That's it. It cost just
Military
£8.50,
structure
sold
complete.
100,000 copies in the first 24 hours, hit
Civilian
half
structure
100,000 in a
Our fleet
day?
is trapped
That's
after arriving at a
incredible.
phase
Wow.
jump
half a
inhibitor.
million sales in
The
just
fleet
8 days.
embraces
Currently
new
sitting
shit.
at over 750,000.
I've never even heard of this game.
sold with a 90% positive rating on Steam.
See, I
Just-
really got to get my head to the ground and be listening to these games, man. Because, like, I feel like I'm so far
Civilian
behind the
structure
ball
complete.
in terms of playing
Our
a lot of
fleet
these
is
newer,
trapped after
cool
arriving
games.
at a phase jump
I am
inhibitor.
so bad
Our
at this right
forces
now.
have
I need to
engaged
do a
the
better
enemy.
job.
takes slot machine mechanics and turns them into pure gameplay dopamine. No microtransactions, no real money, just the addiction of watching combos pop off and your numbers go up. They made gambling fun instead of predatory, and we noticed. And a personal favourite of mine, Ball X Pit. This one
This is my favorite, bro. I love this game so much.
properly mental. It's a roguelike that mashes together Breakout, Vampire Survivors, City.
CBS was going to air a really big story today about Donald Trump sending people to CCOT, which is the El Salvador prison. For some reason, it didn't get published. I don't know why. We're gonna look at it.
Our fleet is
Here we go.
trapped after arriving at a phase jump inhibitor.
Not even public crucifixions. Would there be? You can ask me, right? Just directly. Like again, I like directly answering questions. Would there be a world where I would be in favor of a public execution, crucifixion style nowadays?
Structure complete.
Absolutely. Without even a second of hesitation. Of course. Yeah, why not?
Whatever
Sure.
the Unity wills.
Our fleet is trapped
Why
after
not?
arriving
Yeah,
at
why
a
not?
phase jump inhibitor.
I don't see the reason why. Yeah, I knew the answer. Yeah, like, what do we mean? Like, yeah, that's your answer, right? Don't make it religious. Oh, they've done it for a long time. Too iconic. Could do something else. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, anyway, so speaking of Old Testament stuff like that, they didn't want to do this. I don't know why. I'll watch the video about it.
Logistics upgrade complete.
Well, near this morning, some CBS News
It is
employees are
destined.
threatening to quit
Production
amid
of the
fears
item is
corporate
complete.
censorship. That's after the network abruptly pulled a 60 Minutes investigation.
Our restart
Fleet
it.
is trapped after
Well, near
arriving
this
at a
morning,
phase jump
some
inhibitor.
CBS News employees
We
are
await the
threatening
Unity's
to quit amid
command.
fears of corporate censorship.
Yeah, I bet.
That's after the network abruptly pulled a 60 Minutes investigation hours before it was set to air last
That's
night.
crazy.
The segment would have brought viewers the stories of Venezuelan deportees sent to El Salvador's notorious prison. CBS says that it
Our
was
fleet
still
is
going to
trapped
air it,
after
but that it
arriving
needs
at a phase
more
jump inhibitor.
reporting. Let's go live now to CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter. This is really a severe blow, it seems, to the network's credibility here. What are you hearing from journalists there, Brian?
How can CNN say it's a huge blow to their
item
credibility
ready.
whenever CNN
Maximum
is partnered with a
military
gambling
orbit slots
website?
reached.
Like, I don't, you know.
We are ready.
It's like, I mean,
Our
y'all
fleet
really
is
out here
trapped
talking
after
shit?
arriving at a phase
Y'all
jump
really out
inhibitor.
here going around
Comms
talking
upgrade
shit?
complete.
This bald dude still reporting? Yeah, I thought this retard got fired. Whatever happened to him?
I think that's accurate. This
We
is
seek
a blow to
minds to make
credibility.
our
Whether or
own.
not the piece actually airs in the future, and Editor-in-Chief Barry Weiss is saying to the staff this morning, this segment will air
Our
when
fleet
it's
is
ready.
trapped
But
after
here's
arriving at a
what's
phase
odd
jump
about the
inhibitor.
situation. We can walk
We
through the
sensed your
timeline,
presence.
and I think it'll show how this doesn't really add up. All right. Correspondent Sharon Alfonsi had been working on this segment for weeks. She interviewed some of these deportees who described torturous conditions at Sikot, that prison in El Salvador that the Trump administration has been sending.
I would have never guessed. So they feel like they're being tortured over there? Yeah, duh. Yeah, obviously. That's the
migrants
point.
Too. So these interviews were in the can, they were edited, this segment was ready to go according to producers, editors, fact checkers, and even the lawyers who reviewed the segment. As of Friday, this was ready to go. And that's significant because on Thursday night, Editor-in-Chief Barry Weiss was able to screen it for the first time. I'm told she had some concerns,
Production of
but
the
there was,
item is
a
complete.
sort of an assessment that the piece was going to move forward. And on
colonizable
Friday
planet
afternoon,
has been
this broadcast was
discovered.
publicized. It was promoted ahead of time. Alfonsi's segment was announced to the public.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
And yet, on Saturday morning, Weiss